brother. All right. Welcome back, everybody, for another episode of Pot in the Park, a United Us initiative.
We made it.
I'm your boy, Juleinn. You know me. And y'all would have met our buddy Joey the last week or the week before when we finally released this episode. But we shot that like a month ago, like at least a month ago today.
Yeah, I've been waiting for the air.
Yeah, man. Oh, man. How you been, my brother?
I've been doing good. I rode my buddy's four-wheeler. I messed up my knee, so I've been limping around for the past few weeks, but I'm moving better. It's good.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. To hear that, man. Yeah, I know that you've been getting really excited about being involved. You know, getting involved and taking initiative. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy to just have you on board, man. It's been a blessing since just ever since we bumped into each other, we met.
I'm excited.
Speaking of meetings and blessings here.
Here it comes.
Have you ever heard of the Johari window?
The Jehovah's Witnesses? Yeah, I've seen them. Yeah.
The Johari window. The Johari window.
Are we recording right now? Are we recording video? Sick.
So the Johari window is these four panes in the window, okay? And one of them is, I can't remember exactly what all of them are.
Yeah.
One of them is like the public self.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is your hidden self. One of them is your unknown self.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. That's literally what that assignment I told you about in communicate. That's what it's about. It's about that.
The Johari
in my
window?
communications class. Yeah, not just that, but also about. So it talks more specifically about the main three. So it goes into there's like 5 different ones, but it talks about the main 3: the ought self, it's the ought self, which is the self that people think you should be or you think you should be. It's the something self, the self that you want to be, and it's the true self, the self that you actually are.
Yeah.
And so it kind of talks about that. But yeah, I mean, communications class, and like you're saying, a lot of stuff that I feel like I know, I'm learning now, is not so much about, principles are great, but when you start to understand like the finer, pieces that are inside, you get a clearer understanding of the entire subject.
Yeah, exactly, 100%.
Welcome back. This is our short episode, baby. Now listen, this professor, right? This communications professor, he gave me a good question this week, right? Because I wrote an essay about our nonprofit, and he emailed me and he said pretty much like, who are you? What does your nonprofit do? And the question that he really posed was like, how do you intend to change the world, right? And that really got me thinking for a short episode.
Hold on, so you're being really modest about this and being just really cool about this, but I'm gonna just put it out there, like, this guy was a complete
he wasn't this. I don't think he was intentional.
And I mean, like, he came back right, you know what I mean?
He apologized.
So we got to give him his credit for sure, but like, the dude completely just assumed that you wrote a paper through ChatGPT because...
Yeah, off a hunch. Here's the thing, man, and it's a communications class, so like, send me an email, dude, right? But basically, I wrote an essay about my nonprofit, and he said that it was too structured, it was too smooth, transitions were too smooth, and so it had to be ChatGPT. And so he gave me a D on both my essays I wrote, and so I emailed him like, brother, I'm just a good writer. I'm just good at writing. And he was like, all right, well, if that's true, then what is this nonprofit? You know, you got like, who are these board members that you're talking about? And in his email, he said like, hey, most students aren't able to come back with sufficient evidence. So I appreciate you getting back to me. I was like, yeah. He said most students, when pressed, aren't able to give anything back. So I was like, yeah, no, I have the receipts.
I'm here.
But it did leave me with the question, right? Who are we and what we're trying to do?
Absolutely.
When you say I want to change the world, right? That's what a 5-year-old says. And so the question becomes, when you keep on and hold on to that and decide to run with that into adulthood, and then you decide, all right, well, how do I, put practical application to this, childish wish, if you will? And that's the real question. What is United Us Initiative? Why and how are we going to change the world?
So there's this, I think it's interesting because me and Garen have had the conversation numerous times that like you guys have to some degree buried your souls or some, so that we can make this happen or make this dream viable or reality, but and what's interesting to me is because it's like the fact that that's what you would, bury your soul for means that your soul is not buried by any means. And I think that's just really beautiful. I think it's just really the what we are and what we do is, as an organization, as United Us Initiative, is I think that we are trying to teach and inspire the world to have the same type of values and community type of orientation that we seemingly lacked growing up, but we kind of learned to create for ourselves.
Yeah.
And we learned very young to just create this for ourselves, to create a community for ourselves. And everywhere we go, we made friends with everyone in our neighborhoods very, very quickly. We ended up being, not like ruling the neighborhoods, but being very like
prominent,
very prominent in
very
the
prominent figures. And it's funny. The last essay I wrote, I am a Davis, right? And I really dug into that concept of just the idea of like, my older brother, he was broken, so now he fixes people. Like, I was very lonely as a kid, and so like I go out of my way to make sure nobody around me feels lonely. No one feels lonely. Everyone I talk to, I try my best to make sure that they know they have someone. Yeah. Garen was the smallest, and he goes out of his way to be strong for everyone. Yeah. And to make other people feel strong. And it's really beautiful to me that, like you said, we're creating something that we feel like we lacked, and so we saw a hole in the world. And the whole was community. Is
just like this story about this? I think we may have shared this before. It's this little girl who she's traveling west with her family on like the Oregon Trail or whatnot, and while they're on their way, they have everything they own loaded up in these wagons. It's everything, and they're on their way and they hit this rock in the road and their whole wagon is crumpled and
you did share the story.
Pieces is shattered, and the little girl, while her family is sitting there just like what are we doing? What are we going to do? And this little girl decides to start digging until her hands literally bleed to get the rock out, because she decided that, and then after she was done, she filled the hole and patched it back over, because she decided that even though it broke them, it would not hurt anyone else. It was not going to do the same to anyone else. And that's just beautiful to me, like that concept, that idea. Because
it's a different thought process. By the way, are you crying again? Bro, this is the short episode. This is the short one. You can't be crying on the short episode.
So I've been working on my emotional control and my emotional intelligence.
Okay.
But it is inspiring coming out here, and
it touches your heart.
It does, man, because like there was, like even earlier today we seen a new group. Like we got the group out here that's out here every day, every time, every week. But then we seen a new group out here that we are probably going to be working with here soon for our upcoming events. Who's also out here feeding people. It's so. And he was telling me, he's like, we really got started this summer, and I just thought, I'm like, man, God's been working hard this summer.
God has been working. And you know what? I've never seen this many activist groups out here until this year, and I've lived here for 8 years. And honestly, bro, this every time I'm out here, there's a new group.
There's somebody else.
And we just need to pull them in.
Yeah.
We just need to pull them in.
Yeah.
Dry your damn tears. The biggest thing that I always said when I, we talk about this a lot. We talk about how this all started. Okay, let's get back on topic here. We talk about this a lot, how this all started, right? And we talk about, the acid trip and everything. And
Yeah.
I think it's muddied along the way about, because it's really easy to be like, this was just kind of your idea that we kind of put together. But throughout all the years, it's kind of been something that's compounded between you, me, and Garen, adding pieces to this kind of vague idea at first. It's like, we want to do something. What do we want to do?
Yeah.
How can we do that?
Yeah.
Who should we reach? How should we reach them? And then what resources do we need? And as we've grown, I've come to realize like this is a baby that we've all put together very beautifully. What I was saying was in the beginning of it all, when I first brought like the actual practical application to you and Garen, I don't know if you remember, it was actually in my apartment when it was like a couple days after we talked about that, and we talked about a lot of things. In those days, we talked about starting a clothing brand called Pretty Boy Swag.
Pretty Boy Swag.
We talked about a lot of things, and this is when I said I'm not talking about this one, right?
Yeah.
So I ran with it, and I remember bringing it to you guys, and I think what somebody said is like, well, isn't someone else already doing that, or aren't people already doing those things, or what if someone else does it first? And my whole thought process is like, I'm gonna go and help, and either if no one's doing it, I'll do it, and if someone else is doing it, I'll help them. Either way, the goal will be the same.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna give everything I have to it. And until I find someone who's wanting to do this at our level, and is willing to put in the amount of work that we're putting in, I'm gonna keep doing it in our name under United Us.
100%.
And we're gonna change the world, dude.
100%.
That's the goal. That's the beauty of it.
100%. Brother.
That's what I'm saying. We gotta bring people into us, because these small groups, they all have beautiful intentions. They all have beautiful resources and things that, personally, I think would be better used here. Call it hubris, call it ego, but I know where we're going, and I know what God has called us for, and I promise you, all those beautiful resources and beautiful people and beautiful minds and hands will be better used here.
So, let me put it like this, my brother. Just like the Tao teaches, right? It says that when the master is done leading, the people will look around and say, we've done it.
All by ourselves.
All by ourselves, right? I too, like I said, I've been in school myself, right? And I actually recently, actually today, wrote an essay. And in my essay, I actually spoke about how we need compassionate leadership. We need, I speak about a lot about social entrepreneurship. We need servant leadership.
That's what I teach in the Army, servant leadership.
We need servant leadership. We don't.
Serve
it's
first.
Not exactly. It's as leaders, as those who are seeking to guide and help and to teach others, we have to first and foremost and always serve.
How long are we recording? 13 minutes. Well,
so although I don't necessarily disagree with you that resources would be best served with our group and with our drive, I would say that it's important that all of what we do is service, and that's all that it's.
And that's why recently when I go to do networking like that, like I just met with the chief of battalion chief of the fire department in all of security Whitefield.
Nice.
He gave me his personal number, and me and him are going golfing this week.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Dude.
but the way that personally, the way that I think that I make an impact on these organizations and groups that I do, like the Mike at the school, all those things, is that I ask them, hey, we want to help you. So if you guys do fundraisers, if you guys need sponsorship, let us know, because we have hands, we have resources, and we want to put those things to work for you. If you want to do a fire people event, whatever, let us plan it and throw it for you, or however we can help and serve you guys. With that though, let's wrap up our short episode, right? This week, next week we'll talk about what are we talking about next week? It's going to be something like I propose. No, I demand that we rewrite the Constitution, and we'll talk about that next week. Don't save your thoughts. We'll talk about that next week.
Okay.
I absolutely demand that we rewrite the Constitution. Hey,
Are we gonna have Joey here with us next week?
Joey can sit with us next week. Yeah.
All right, bet.
Hey, when united, we are us, baby. Listen, come down to our Halloween event. You know where we're gonna be at. The flyer's in the description. Come down, say hi. We're gonna be there live, and if you can't make it, watch live. You'll see us in our costumes. No spoilers. But I'll tell you what, we're going to force you to watch. Peace.
Yeah, cool.
なんのこれ式